Hey everyone, another issue of Marvel Time, and we have very little to talk about this week. I mean, good luck. I know you have seen, you've seen Spider-Man: No Way Home, and you have to, not really say anything, which is going to be incredibly challenging.
You have no idea.
So
they didn't even allow guests for the screening, so I literally have no one to talk to.
That's rough. That is difficult. Can you do your, I guess, like social reactions are out there, right?
Yeah. I can say what I thought of the movie.
Okay. So
actually, I could do a full review. The problem with I decided what I want my superpower to be is the ability to somehow be able to write reviews when the entire movie is a spoiler.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, I guess we're having a little bit of a glitch on Facebook here, but I think we're good. Yeah, that I can't. I had a hard enough time with Eternals and not saying anything. This movie, I'm sure, is going to be much more difficult to not talk about for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Eternals now.
Right.
So much. And in there's ways that are surprising that it intersects, and this I will I will say there's stuff after the credits. I will say no, but in reality, what I can talk about is pretty much the villains, right? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, what we've seen in the trailers.
It's so much fun to see these guys back.
Yeah.
And these guys confused, and these guys, a lot of those villains were, good people that did something stupid and then Flint Marko may be the one sort of exception who's kind of better after the fact. But, they want to do what's good for the world, but they, do something stupid to themselves. And then, and to see the acting by Willem Dafoe and Mr. Jennifer Lee is just spectacular. I mean, it's like I realized that the best villains in the Marvel universe came from not MCU movies. There's just there's something delicious about Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin, and he doesn't miss, particularly him and Otto. It's not like, oh, hey, let's go back for a romp, and like I'm not really in it. I mean, they're in it. They are giving a performance like this would never win an Oscar because they're stupid, but like Academy Award-winning performances, not only from them but also from Tom Holland. I mean, amazing acting that makes this all. I mean, it's very comic book in that, like, you need a plot device, so there'll be a spell. I mean, like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you think about it, but it's okay because it's really cool. And it's kind of like in Avengers Endgame. It's like you really think he's good that like Captain America is going to take that moment to do his catchphrase? Like, no. But I will give one. Well, I have a couple things. One is I would recommend it's a little late now, but there's so many nods to the various previous Spider-Man movies, and I mean all of them, that Alex wanted to rewatch it, and I was like, it's okay. I've seen some, like, I know what happens, but I would definitely recommend rewatching the Spider-Man movies if you have a chance. I mean, there's just little things, like just things in the background that you wouldn't notice. Like I only noticed because I recently saw them. And I will give one spoiler. This movie takes place the same time as Hawkeye.
Okay, yeah, I assumed that. Feel like we're at a point where things are converging in the timeline here. So
well, and it's funny because like you forget that like you're watching it and you're totally forgetting Hawkeye is happening.
Yeah.
Until you see like a billboard for Rogers the Musical.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And that, by the way, that has been noticed in teasers and trailers and stuff. So don't worry, not a big spoiler. You didn't let anything loose there.
And is the Statue of Liberty in the trailer?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
With the modification?
Yeah.
So I thought it was funny that they referenced that in this week's Hawkeye.
Yeah. And we'll talk about Hawkeye in just a little bit, and we'll get into our normal stuff. But I did want to say too, it's funny you brought up rewatching the Spider-Man, the old Spider-Man movies. I just revisited the Raimi trilogy this past week, and it's so good. I haven't watched it in so long, and like there's some CGI stuff. Obviously, they're old movies at this point, but those movies were great. Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina, like you said, they were both so good in their roles. So now I'm ready. I'm really excited to get into this movie tomorrow.
It's just a shame that like I know they got the villains back, but it just really been cool if they could have had like the other Peter Parkers in the same movie. It's you just miss them because their villains are there.
I'm not all right. We're gonna move off of this movie now.
But great movie. Go see it. See it twice.
I almost definitely will for sure. We did have comics this week, and we're going to jump into those right now. So changing gears a little bit here, we're going to talk about Defenders number 4. This is really weird. Just a really weird story going on here. What did you think?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. This was very strange. They are in different realities.
I see what you did there.
That was totally on purpose. I'll take credit for that. They're in different cosmos. They're saying like different realities have existed before ours, but now it's only 7 realities that have existed before 8, something like that. But that kind of defeats the purpose of the multiverse. So I'm confused as to what's happening there. But a lot of very strange stuff. Again, not intentional. Just really weird. There is a moment where they break the 4th wall and you see them actually step out of a comic, which is really, really cool to see. Like the art in this was fantastic. But just some really weird visuals for sure.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest. This week I had a very hard time with. I'm still in the last 24 hours. I've had. I saw No Way Home. No Way Home. I watched Hawkeye. I saw a trailer for Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Yeah.
My head is in a million pieces as it is, and so like it was just this was the week for straightforward comics with old-fashioned action, and I just didn't get it from this title because there's only so many universes I can deal with on any given Wednesday, and I reach my limit.
Well, luckily, I thought at least the other 4 comics that we went through were short and to the point and very straightforward.
This was the last one I read. So
okay, that makes a lot of sense. This is the first one I read, so I feel like I did it the right way. You got pushed into the wrong order here, but let's move into Strange Academy. This is issue number 14, and I've said before this is maybe my favorite ongoing series in Marvel Comics right now. I love this whole concept. Very like Marvel meets Harry Potter kind of concept here. And I'll say this is my pick of the week. I really enjoyed this issue.
It is also my pick of the week.
There we go.
I am smart. And great. It's able to be grounded to a point. It tells you what you need to know, but at the same time has great character interaction.
Yeah.
Which, as I've discovered in the last 24 hours, when you are dealing with complex themes, it all comes down to the characters.
Yeah. And that's one of my favorite things about this story is it has so many great characters and great relationships between those characters. And this issue in particular gets into a little bit of time travel stuff, and we get to see them in the future. So it's a school for gifted, a school for gifted youngsters. But they, so we've only seen young versions of these characters, but we get to see some future versions, and the character designs are so cool. I thought they really knocked it out of the park there, especially with Doyle. I need an action figure of that character right now. But yeah, I really love this. I still think this comic series would make for a great either animated or live action Marvel television series. I think that would be awesome. And yeah, I can't wait to see where they go from here, because this has been an exciting, fun comic series for sure. And speaking of some exciting, crazy comic series, we have Hulk #2. Donny Cates took over Hulk just a few weeks ago, and now we've got the second issue here. I don't know about you, but I was reading this one, I blinked and it was over. It was a very short issue, and you kind of blow through it. I think I read this one faster than I've read any other, aside from like any Lucky the Pizza Dog comic or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just flew through this one.
Yeah, it was definitely fast. Not bad, great art.
Yeah,
but I think it really kind of establishes where this story. The first issue is like, here's the status quo and here's the adventure you're on, and then this one kind of gets into the characters' heads a little bit more.
literally.
And then literally maybe, but still has that mystery at the end where you're like, what?
Yeah, I think this differs from that Defenders issue that we talked about, in that it's so weird. It's a weird story. There's some crazy stuff going on. The Hulk is being kept in a mind prison within his own body. But then it also is very simple and straightforward. And, you can follow this story. You could pick up this issue and get, by the third or fourth page, have a full understanding of what's going on. Whereas, with Defenders or some other comics out there, it's way more complicated than that. So I think this is very well balanced. And like you said, there's this cool cliffhanger ending, but I have no idea what to expect next. So I like the unpredictability of it. So that's a nice, feature for a comic series to have. So let's get into, I don't know if you've heard of a character called Spider-Man, but we're going to talk about a couple of Spider-Man issues. Starting with Miles Morales, Spider-Man #2.
Which is not the way you're supposed to read it. Read Spider-Man first.
Yes. And I learned that. I read the first 2 pages of Miles Morales and then stopped and went back to the other one. But I like this. I like both of them, and it's hard to kind of separate the two because they really do blend together a little bit here. I like Beyond kind of bleeding into the other Spider-Man comics now, and so there's these legal complications. Obviously, they have now copyrighted the name Spider-Man, and so Miles is still operating under that name. That's going to cause some problems. So I like the grounded story there. There's also some big crazy stuff going on. I mean, he's still dealing with a clone who I don't even know how really to describe him. All he says is glurp. So don't really know too much about him. I
want a comic book that's just Glurp and Groot, just like engaging in like high stakes like quantum physics.
That would be fantastic, and it would be very easy to write. I mean, you could have the most intelligent conversation ever without putting much thought into it. So, but yeah, I like this one a lot. I think. Well, do you have any specific thoughts on this issue before we move on?
What I think was nice about it is you have Miles is in many ways closer to Peter Parker than Ben Reilly is. Mm-hmm. So you get a little bit more, Parker kind of sidelined, or at least they think he's sidelined in this story. It's kind of nice to get that classic sort of, me and my guy trying to, using technology to figure out what's going on, that you don't really get with Ben, which is the whole reason he exists. But so it was kind of fun to have that.
Yeah, I agree. I like kind of simplifying things with Miles a little bit. But I did prefer this issue, The Amazing Spider-Man #81. Again, continuing the Beyond series with Ben Reilly here. And obviously you have Miles crossing over into this as well. And I've really enjoyed this series for a while now. I thought this was another fun issue. I do feel like there's nothing that stands out about this one. I think it furthers the story, very nicely. It's a nice continuation. I don't think it's one that I would like look back on and be like, oh, I need to reread that issue. But I just like this overall story, and this was the next step in that. So I enjoyed it a lot.
I believe this is, the start of a little bit of work by Saladin Ahmed, who definitely is, I would say gifted scripter, just like gets you to the point, keeps it still has that, makes it interesting, but it doesn't get, she's no Jonathan Hickman. And I don't mean that negative to either of them, but just they're very different. And I think it's very exciting to see Spider-Man be Spider-Man, but it's not even Spider-Man. Although I will say the one thing that was kind of disappointing me is the last issue, that Beyond issue, we had him wake up, and you kind of Peter Parker wake up, and it kind of feels like that, like they forgot about that, and it doesn't even. You kind of feel like, well, once Peter Parker is on the table in a Spider-Man book, he should show up.
Yeah, I'm curious if that was a release thing, or if it's just more of a timing, like this is maybe taking place while that is happening elsewhere. And I would give them another week as sort of a benefit of the doubt kind of thing, and see when Peter pops up. But and I will say, with a new writer taking over, I think it blended in seamlessly. Like I said, like this blends into the rest of the story very well, and just continues it. It doesn't feel like there was any sort of disjointed storytelling here at all. I'm very excited for where this is going. That you get that Beyond versus, Ben is going to take on Beyond at some point, and starting to wonder, is he going to have some help? What role is Dr. Octopus going to play? There's a lot of very interesting pieces on the board here, so we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
So normally we would bring in Bekah to lead us through the Marvel must-have. She's not with us right now. She's right about now actually just finishing up Spider-Man No Way Home. So there you go.
I just got texts asking me questions.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't zoom in on this phone if you're smart.
I feel like it would be very blurry. You kept it moving pretty well there. But so I'm going to do my best to lead us through the Marvel must-haves from this past week. Going back to last week's episode of Hawkeye, we're going to talk about this week's in just a second here, but we have some fun merchandise from last week, including these pops of Clint and Kate in their ugly sweaters, which I love. And we also have some Rock'em socks. We got these Hawkeye put a bow on it socks. And then, I mean, who doesn't want these Lucky the Pizza Dog socks here as well. We have the ugly sweaters in t-shirt form, which is perfect for Florida because I love the ugly sweater design, but it's Florida. I can't wear a sweater. We have some other t-shirts here as well. Kate Bishop. Then we have both Clint and Kate. Another Kate Bishop. We got Clint. And then we have the ugly sweater design on a pillow as well. We got both of them. This hand-drawn cat is it's very funny when you really pay attention to it. So yeah, lots of fun Marvel Hawkeye merchandise available right now, and I'm sure I'll have more Marvel must-haves pretty soon based on this week's episode as well. So with that being taken care of, Hawkeye. One that I actually can talk about with you. We'll talk about Spider-Man a little bit more in depth next week. Hawkeye episode 5. What did you think? I know you have a lot. You've had a lot going on, like you said. There's been a lot of Marvel to take in the past 24 hours for you. But
yeah, so I was wondering about that. Like after seeing Spider-Man, I was like, and then you realize, basically you're going to see Spider-Man, go to sleep, and then watch Hawkeye. If it would be good. And I would say that I love the episode, the thing that they think is surprising at the end ends up not being surprising.
Right.
I would recommend watching Hawkeye before seeing No Way Home.
Okay.
Not that makes a huge difference, but
well, I mean, just like what you said, if you're watching No Way Home and then you're going back to the next episode of a TV series, is it going to be a little bit of a letdown when one is so much bigger than the other? It makes perfect sense.
No, I don't necessarily mean in that way. I just mean
I was trying to give you your out there. I was trying to let you off the hook.
I would just say the there's things in this episode that are more surprising in the episode if you haven't seen No Way Home.
Okay, gotcha.
Not that anyone appears in. Anyway, this is hard. How do you do this?
I don't. I've never had one this difficult. I've just had to not tell people that Harry Styles was in Eternals, which we don't have many Harry Styles.
Yeah, that was a lot easier. Oh my gosh! And the 2 post-credit scenes.
All right, no more. Say nothing else. Let's talk about Hawkeye. I really, really liked this episode. I mean, I wasn't surprised by the ending, and we'll talk about the ending a little bit more in depth. But I would say, like, I still got so excited about it that I, just jumped up off my couch this morning and probably looked like an idiot. So, but let's jump to the beginning of the episode, where we start off kind of interestingly. We don't get the recap and the Marvel scroll and all that. We actually just go to 2018, and we join Elena as she is, working on quote unquote freeing the Black Widows. With that antidote that we saw from Black Widow. And turns out the one that they were fighting with was already, not under mind control. And they just have this friendly conversation. She steps away for a minute, and then the snap happens. And I really like that this was being told from her perspective. And we never saw it this way before, but she gets dusted, but immediately comes back, because to her, that's how it happened. Like there was no 5-year gap. Mm-hmm. So I really liked the way that looked, visually. I thought they did a really good job with it. It felt really cool. And, we got to see that different perspective there.
It's funny because in the Marvel universe, you have the Battle of New York, which is referenced in this series, not infrequently. And you have the snap. And it's like those 2 moments define everybody as they would in real life. Right. And, it's like we keep going back. This is not the first time we've, seen a snap, seen the snap after, the snap. And, but we've never seen it from this perspective where you're basically Elena or a snappy or whatever they're called. And, obviously a lot of decision making went into who wasn't, like, obviously Doctor Strange was snapped, but Wong wasn't, it's, and so having her snapped, I think was the right choice because it allows her to kind of keep there not being as much distance between the Elena we last saw and the Elena that is in Hawkeye.
Right.
It means, because obviously there would have been, a lot more of her with her sister, in 5 years if she was still around. Sure. And kind of puts where Black Widow is in Endgame in a little bit of a different light too.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of, by the way, we can't be the only 2 that are fascinated by, how people handled the blip, the snap, whatever. Can we get a series of shorts that's just different people in different situations and what happened with I just like not even superheroes, just random people. I just want to see, how different people handled it. I think that would be such a fascinating Disney Plus series that it would just be awesome. But
do you remember when Endgame came out and they had the posters and had the gray ones for the snapped and the blue ones or whatever, the color ones for the survivors?
Avenged Fallen, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how much time I spent just like studying who was snapped and who, because it's not so much about like, obviously we knew Peter Parker was snapped and, but, it's like more like what happened to Happy Hogan? What happened to Shuri? What happened to and you're like, what does that mean? Like, oh man, that was bad.
Yeah, I would love to see more of that whole, event explored. But I mean, there's
I
a lot
would
of
not be surprised if you don't see more of that in upcoming Marvel content. Maybe not a series of like an anthology, but
sure, yeah,
I have a feeling that in upcoming films, we will learn more about how the snap impacted Wakanda. How did the snap impact, the what's it called? I keep wanting to say Kumandra, but that's from Raya and the Last Dragon. But Kamar-Taj, how did all these different sort of worlds within the Marvel universe react to the snap?
right. Yeah, I'd definitely be interested to see more of it for sure.
In SpiderMan, Far From Home, you get like the humor version of it, which is hilarious.
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely. And that could get more of that. But we got to see an extended interaction between Elena and Kate Bishop, which I think a lot of people were looking forward to, especially after seeing the first couple of episodes. Once everybody fell in love with Kate Bishop, and it did not disappoint. It's really just a conversation they have sitting at a table eating macaroni and cheese, which, by the way, if we don't get Elena's macaroni and cheese in Avengers Campus, that's a disappointment.
I've been craving macaroni and cheese and donuts all night and day because
together or just two separate.
Oh no, one of those is not in Hawkeye. Okay, okay, spoiler alert, there's donuts in No Way Home. Yes, I've been craving mac and cheese.
Well, I am too now, and I want some mac and cheese with hot sauce. But yeah, their conversation was great. I think a lot of character development there with Kate, and I think an interesting relationship built between these two. That there's sort of this, not even really a love-hate, because I mean, I think they genuinely enjoyed each other's company, at least on Yelena's side there. But they're obviously working on different sides right now. Things will almost definitely change.
And Elena has a different ethic code than someone like a Peter Parker, right? Like someone killed her sister, as far as she understands it, and then so she's gonna avenge her. And ironically, not what the Avengers would do, but it's it's completely understandable. She's not bad, and she. What I think is, you see the battle in the last episode. Is she, especially someone who's not paying attention as much. Is she bad? Is she bad girl? But in the end, no, she's just trying to avenge her sister from the guy who she believes killed her, but then at the same time, in the end, is still willing to like, wait a minute, maybe I should think this through a little bit more before I start killing people.
Yeah, and there is this mystery, during their conversation of who actually hired her. We saw, Val hand the assignment over to her, but we don't know who's really pulling the strings, and so they leave that conversation on that note. Meanwhile, we do see Clint meeting with Grills again, which, by the way, the more we meet Grills and get to know him, and they've really endeared him to the audience now, I just have such a bad feeling about this. I just, knowing where it goes in the comics, I don't feel good about it at all. But hopefully they go in a different direction. But he does mention to Clint that the other LARP that was with them in last week's episode did create the new costumes that Kate asked for. So I think we'll probably be seeing some comic accurate costumes. Whether or not Clint actually decides to put his on will remain to be seen, but it looks like something that might pop up in the near future. We discussed at length last week that we thought Laura, there was something up with her, and we got basically a mirror image of the scene from last week, where there's more conversation over the phone, and she seems to understand this world very well, and we still don't really get any answers as far as why she knows what's going on so well, but definitely, adding to the suspense on that front for sure. And in the same vein too, we also really progress the situation with the mystery watch at all either. We don't get any answers as to who that belongs to. This is really more so, this episode is more so focused on Elena and her involvement in the story. But we did get a couple of big reveals here. One, when Clint dresses as Ronan, goes and fights Maya and reveals himself to be Ronan. And he tells Maya that it was her boss that put the hit out on her father. He wanted her father killed, something that I expected to see because that's more comic accurate. And in the end, we do find out Elena is tailing Eleanor, Kate's mom, and lets Kate know that Eleanor is the one that hired her to kill Clint Barton. We're still not sure what her deal is, what game she's playing. But we do find out that she is working for/with the Kingpin, and actually confirms it, actually sends a picture. We see Vincent D'Onofrio in the white suit, and Clint actually says, this is the guy I've been worried about, the Kingpin. So we do know that it is Vincent D'Onofrio playing the Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, in the MCU, which is really exciting.
So they arrest Jacques in this episode.
Yes.
And he seems to not care.
Yeah, he's very relaxed. I've completely flipped around. He was obviously made to be a very sketchy character. I don't think there's anything mysterious about him anymore. Like, they've done a good job of completely turning me around on him.
I really do have questions.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I think, you have this sort of interweb of Val, Kingpin, Bishop, Maya to a point, Maya's assistant. What's his name?
Kazi.
Kazi. And
it's a longer name that I can't pronounce, but we'll stick with Kazi.
Yeah. And we don't really know what the relationship is. And I don't know that we're fully going to get like a complete answer next week. I think this is going to be a sort of a longer form story.
Yeah. I mean, we know we're getting the Echo series, so we know some things will bleed out into that. But I'm hoping we get a decent amount of answers, because I definitely have a lot of questions regarding this series and the story for some of these characters. I want to say, too, before we move off of it, that the ending of this episode, seeing the picture of Kingpin, or it's actually a video on the phone, but we don't actually get to see the video play. But seeing that, hearing Clint actually say Kingpin, and then they cut to credits and they play "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch," and I thought that was just so perfectly handled. And then, I was excited for the entire credit sequence. We get to see Vincent D'Onofrio's name in there, so that got me excited. And then they end with the Hawkeye logo in that same, David Aja sort of art style, with Kate and Clint there in silhouette, and then a big silhouette of the Kingpin over the city, which was really, really cool as well. Just so perfect. Such a great ending to that episode.
Do you think we're going to see Charlie Cox in the MCU anytime soon?
I do, and I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get into any more right now. But yes, I do. And again, we talked about it last week too, that Kevin Feige confirmed that if and when Daredevil appears in the MCU, it will be Charlie Cox playing him. So, which I'm so excited about, because I loved Charlie Cox. What he did.
It's going to be really cool to see. I hope they do a good, I don't know. I don't know where he's going to show up, but I hope it's cool.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I trust in Kevin Feige always, and then also just such a great character and great actor playing him. So, okay, let's jump into our Marvel news from the past week here. Starting with Eternals will be streaming on Disney Plus January 12th. I am really excited about this because I feel like I enjoyed this movie more than most other people did. I mean, obviously the reviews were a little bit down on this movie. The only person I know, at least, that to say out loud that I enjoyed this one more than Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So I really like this movie, and I'm looking forward to watching it again for sure.
Yeah, it's hard for me to get excited. There's so much cool new stuff. It's hard for me to get excited. Ooh, now I can watch it, on repeat. But I mean, I'm happy it'll be there. I just don't. It's not as big of a. I kind of presumed it would be there at some point, so I don't know
Sure, yeah.
I don't know.
It is.
It's not a big reveal, I guess, in a world where those big reveals seem to be all the time. Wow, Spider-Man has a 94% Rotten Tomato score. That's impressive.
That sounds about right. Although breaking the curse of the Spider-Man trilogy, I suppose. I will say this movie feels to me like this is hitting Disney Plus sooner than I expected. I don't know if that's just because I've been distracted by so many other things. I haven't compared to like the other windows and stuff like that with other movies being released, but
so they negotiated a 45-day release window. Okay. Encanto is 30 days.
Oh wow! Okay.
Just to get there for Christmas, before Christmas. So, I believe this came out in early November.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember the exact date. November 5th or 6th or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually a little bit long. It's about 75 days probably when it's all said and done. So, it used to be 90. So I think it's smart not to give us a break between Hawkeye. Not just release it on the same day as Hawkeye.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of, on that topic, actually, we're into the end of Hawkeye, and I don't know that you're not going to have any other official information or anything like that, but we don't know when the next Disney Plus Marvel series is coming up, and we haven't had this situation before where, since WandaVision started, we've known when the next thing was coming. We knew exactly how long we had to wait. Now, we could be looking at months before we get another Disney Plus series, which is feels very different. And that's crazy to say, but it feels very weird.
Well, it's also not, Marvel anything. The next movie is not till May.
Yeah.
And I don't think we even have a trailer yet.
Right. Yeah. So, we're definitely still a ways off, which is weird.
You'd think they would want to have a trailer out for Spider-Man.
Right. I feel, well, I guess things with Sony and whatever, but I feel like we should have an announcement coming fairly soon as to when we can expect the next Disney Plus series. Just, for planning's sake, right? Like the window has to be closing. There's 3 series planned for 2022. So, we've got to be there pretty soon.
I would presume we're going to get the sort of here's what's coming in 2022 stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
The sort of marketing messages, but at the same time, they've been kind of playing it closer to their vest about things like when they're going to come out. Like they don't give as long of a lead time. I'm going to guess it's not, probably March at the earliest. But
yeah, that's about, I was thinking possibly like late February, but yeah, March probably makes more sense at this point because I would have expected an announcement by now if we were getting something in February. So we're probably still a few months off, which is going to feel weird. Just a long layoff of no Marvel content. Although I would assume with Eternals hitting in January, we'll probably also get an Assembled at some point in that window as well.
Yeah, it is weird. Like, it's kind of depressing when you think about it. Like after next week.
Yeah. Come on, get 2022 going just like 2021 was.
Well, and it's like, and then this week, it's not like they're like kind of trailing off. No, I got a great episode of Hawkeye, and I saw a great Marvel movie.
Oh no, 2021 is going out with a bang, that's for sure. I just want 2022 to start up as soon as possible. Speaking of Disney Plus series, we learned that WandaVision was recognized by the AFI as one of the top 10 television series of 2021, which is really awesome. I've been kind of revisiting, all of the Marvel projects that came out in 2021 for an upcoming article on Laughing Place. Keep an eye out for that. And WandaVision, man, it's so hard to rank these Disney Plus series. WandaVision feels to me like it's closer to the bottom, but at the same time, it was so good. And it does it feels like one of those that would be more recognized in award shows and things like this. than any of the others.
Well, I do think, TV people like TV shows about making TV.
Yes, exactly. That's kind of what I was getting at without saying it.
And I mean, I love WandaVision. And it definitely kind of had a cultural moment.
Oh yeah.
I guess it's because we had this Falcon, the Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, and What If. Right? Getting everything.
Loki,
that's right. But I feel like Loki's part of its fun is its role in the Marvel universe. It's not,
yes.
Loki on its own. I think would just be kind of, if you didn't have a Marvel universe around it, I don't know how well it would stand up. But
yeah, cool to see WandaVision being recognized like this, and very well deserved. Don't get me wrong. WandaVision was fantastic, and like I said, felt more like, of all of these projects, the ones that would be in this category.
Has it been? I can't remember anymore. Has it been announced where we'll see Wanda next?
Yeah, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Yes.
Yes. So I look forward to continuing that adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. You alluded to it a little bit earlier. We did get a teaser for Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. This is one of those projects that was announced all the way back in February. Actually, I think even before that, but what kind of just felt forgotten. And then the teaser just drops today, and this is coming in summer 2022, an animated series. I don't think they told us exactly where this will be yet. So I'm interested to see that.
Originally, it was Disney Channel, but those things have a way of changing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then I expected them to say, summer 22 Disney Channel, or, whatever specific way they were going to go with it. But we don't have an answer just yet. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking this out. I love that they are bringing in, putting a spotlight on characters that aren't so well known.
And it's a great team behind it. Obviously, you guys know Lawrence Fishburne, but he's a comic fan. It's not just sort of a, I'm gonna, we need a guy to do it. Okay, here's Lawrence Fishburne. Like, he knows his stuff.
Yeah,
and I don't know if you know the story about how he got into the Marvel universe to begin with.
No, I'm not familiar.
But someone's watching who doesn't know. So, Blackish films on the Disney lot. And so one day he was like, oh, Marvel's just down there. So he just walked over and had a conversation with them. And they said, and then once they got in their head, then they're like, oh, he'd be perfect. And they called him up. So it's funny. But then not only do you have Lawrence Fishburne, but you have sort of television animation legend, Steve Loader, who you may know from Kim Possible or Ghost and Molly McGee, but just known for just creating great cartoons.
Yeah, so great characters, a great creative team. This series is definitely going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait for that. Again, summer 2022. We don't have any other specifics on that just yet, but looking forward to it for sure. Thursday was the Game Awards 2021, and Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy took the award for Best Narrative. Neither one of us has played this, correct?
I have not. I want to, but
yeah,
it takes time. I don't have.
Yeah, exactly. We do have a review.
It has Cosmo and Cosmo puppies.
Yes.
I don't know why I haven't played this game.
Right, exactly. There is a review up on laughingplace.com from Chris. Enjoyed the game quite a bit, so I do want to try it. And actually, it winning the award for Best Narrative definitely makes me want to play it more, because that's the part that I enjoy about video games, the great original story. So hopefully, some point in the future, I'll give this a shot. I still need to finish Marvel's Avengers and all the DLC, so I'm backed up a little bit, but I'll give it a shot eventually.
Madam Useful.
You can't do that as I'm bringing up the next news point here. Did you get a chance to see this? The Daily Bugle had some newsstand pop up around New York last week.
I did. Made me want to go to New York.
Yeah,
I will say, I didn't. we here at Laughing Plays have a certain amount of generalistic integrity. So, without naming names, the Daily Bugle is sort of like a different Disney fan site for the New York community. Do not believe everything they see or everything you read in the Daily Bugle. But be careful.
Daily Bugle is definitely in a different category, that's for sure. And I'll leave it at that. But yeah, it was only up for a few hours, so unfortunately, it wasn't something where we were like, oh, we can, let's try and get out there for it. Because I mean, by the time that I even saw that these were a thing, there were like 2 hours left, and then it was closing down for good. So, but really, really cool that they had this pop up in a few different locations around the city. They actually were giving out special Daily Bugle newspapers with Spider-Man on the cover, the Spider Menace, the classic J. Jonah Jameson type of paper. So just really cool, really fun marketing. And this was last week. I don't know if it was Thursday or Friday, something like that. But this was at the time, I said this on Zacks of Life too. And like, this was the exact marketing I wanted for this movie at this point, because I don't want to see anything else from the movie. But this is really cool. I like something creative like this.
Peter Parker does.
Yes, but which Peter Parker?
What do you mean? What are you talking about? I don't know if you saw the credit. I don't know if you saw the poster. There's only one Spider-Man in this movie. I know the rumors out there, but come on, you think all these people are going to just let their talent agents say, no, it's okay. You don't even need to put their name on the cast list.
That is a very valid point, actually, which is a little bit sad. But let's talk about some upcoming comics. We got a first look at Silk, a new series coming up in January. I love that this character is getting some more love. I'm not a big fan of like the different spider characters or really just any variations of a classic character. I like characters to be original, but Silk is a really interesting one.
You're gonna get pissed with Doctor Strange this week.
I am looking forward to this. This is January 19th. This will be this week up. So pretty soon we'll have Silk, and then Marauders will be getting a new start in March. Marauders #1, and it's going to be basically a whole new lineup. You're still going to have Kate and Bishop, but then you're also going to have other characters like Daken and Psylocke and a bunch of others showing up. And they actually say there's one mystery character that Kate is not really thrilled to be working with in this upcoming series, and haven't revealed who that is just yet.
To be clear, Kate and Bishop, not Kate.
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes. Did I say Kate Bishop? That's pretty funny that those two are lined up right here on the cover like that. Yes, Kate and Bishop. Kate Pride and Bishop.
Some might call it Kitty just to keep it clear.
She won't be a fan of that, but we might have to go back to Kitty. So yeah, Marauders, I'm looking forward to that. Marauders is my favorite next title for a while. I really enjoyed this team. I thought Kate Pride was a very interesting character. So I like that. I'm looking forward to a new start for these characters. I mean, it's like they want to write a comic for me. Venom, Lethal Protector #1. We're getting back to along the same line of the X-Men Legends series, the Maestro series they did. Getting back to the basics, the origins of the character. I am so excited for this. This is also coming in March. I mean, the work takes you back to the 90s, to the origins of Venom, and I can't wait. This is very exciting.
This makes me wish that someday we could get. I mean, it's never going to happen, but Venom in the MCU, because
yeah, we rewatched the Sam Raimi trilogy, and Spider-Man 3 was obviously just a nightmare. But by the way, the first act of that movie I thought was actually really good, and then it turns complete 180 and just goes downhill from there. And Venom was just absolutely butchered, worse than any other comic book character has ever been before, I think. And I really would love to see them get it right. The only problem with that is it's a big commitment to actually get Venom right, like multiple movies to actually draw out just the origin of this villain. And I don't think they can do that without rebooting Spider-Man again, and I'm really the whole Marvel universe at this point. So
I don't know that you need all the null stuff. I mean, just I think the animated series did a great job with kind of not and but just getting I haven't seen the non-MCU Venom movies, but they just seemed a little too non-MCU-ish. Fun maybe.
But I don't even mean I don't need the whole alien hierarchy and all of that explained. But if you're gonna have it the way it was done in the comics, he came from Secret Wars and the black suit and everything. So you'd have to have a Secret Wars movie. You'd have to have a movie where he's wearing the black suit and becomes corrupted by it. And then you'd have the Venom movie. And I think that's just a big commitment to really do it that way. They could totally adjust things and adapt it for the MCU like they have with so many other stories and, kind of streamline things a little bit. I don't see them doing it the right way.
I also don't see, Sony giving, their movies have been moderately successful. So, it's, I just makes you want to buy Sony. I think about this a lot. I think all the things that Disney is would love to have, right? Like Jeopardy. They're always on Jeopardy, but they would love to own Jeopardy. Obviously, fixing this whole Spider-Man debacle.
Yeah.
But then stupid. So I think okay, the FTC is going to be examining this, and there's going to be all these fanboys petitioning that it happens just so they can get Spider-Man in the MCU without drama.
There's the whole legal side of things too for getting Venom right. But I'm just happy we're getting a good comic origin again coming up in March. And March is going to be a very exciting month for comics because we are also getting a Captain Carter comic series spinning off from What If. So I'm looking forward to this. This should be a lot of fun. I believe they said 5-issue limited series. So obviously not a huge story, but definitely something I'm looking forward to checking out. Then we also have.
There we go.
Yeah. So going back a while now, this was handled in a very weird way because they showed us this cover with the silhouette, and we were wondering, who is the new Sorcerer Supreme? And then the story happened, and we were like, oh, it's just Doctor Strange. But turns out it's going to be Clea, which is really cool. I'm very interested to see how they're going to go, from here, because we haven't had Death of Doctor Strange the main title in a little while. I want to get back into this now. I feel like if they're going to release this information, they need to give us the next title that same week. Come on.
Yeah, it's weird. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think we all presume Stephen Strange will return.
Sure.
Eventually, but
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what her journey is.
Yeah, absolutely. And we should probably mention, she is going to be stepping up as the Sorcerer Supreme in this story and handling, the crazy magical attacks happening with the death of Doctor Strange. So looking forward to that. And then Strange number 1.
Can I ask you an MCU question about Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Is he the Sorcerer Supreme?
Yeah, they've said that, yeah.
Okay. What happens when you blip?
Very good question. Yeah. Yeah. I see. You know what? There's just more in that 5-year window that they can explore. Lots of stuff could happen there. I want to see the 5 years where Wong was serving as the Sorcerer Supreme. But so yeah, we'll see this happen in Death Doctor Strange, and then she will step up in Strange number 1 coming in March. Like I said, March will be a very exciting month for comics. And finally, we got 3 titles announced for Free Comic Book Day, May 7th. We're going to have Avengers/X-Men number 1. They're all number 1.
They spent a lot of time on that cover.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's very creative. Avengers/X-Men, Spider-Man/Venom, which has become sort of a tradition that there's going to be a Spider-Man Venom comic every year for Free Comic Book Day, but also Marvel's Voices, which is different and pretty cool that they're including that as well. So again, Free Comic Book Day, May 7th, you can pick up these 3 new comics. I think we got through it all. Yeah, I mean, even more for you than for me, because you had a whole, 2.5 hour movie thrown in there as well. I can't wait until tomorrow. I finally get to see it.
I'm going to see it again. It's not a movie you can see once, just forewarned.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm definitely planning to see it a second time for sure. All I know is for the next 24 hours or so, I can't talk to you, Kyle, or Bekah. So I'm going to be radio silent. But yeah, we will be back next week with some more Marvel comics. We will be talking about the finale of Hawkeye. And I guess we'll discuss Spider-Man a little bit, but not probably fully in depth because we don't want to have a 2-hour show. So I guess we'll do that.
We're going to actually have a special LP movie club on Tuesday, time to be determined, where we'll talk Spider-Man on Marvel time as well, but we'll do the full sort of deep dive on Tuesday, and that might be all day.
Looking forward to it. So
it might be longer than the movie.
Can't wait for that. See Spider-Man No Way Home before then, and then come join us I believe the entire world will have seen the movie by then anyway. So
if they remember
it. I'd stop it. I don't want to get into any.
That's in the trailer.
New episode of Zacks of Life is out. You can check that out right now. We'll be back next week as well to talk about this episode that we just discussed for Hawkeye, and then a little bit about Spider-Man as well. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what we just drafted on this most recent episode, and we drafted the best purple characters, so you can check.
A purple man.
that was one of the picks. Believe it or not, he was picked in the purple draft. So also picked. Anything else?
Mystique.
Is Mystique purple?
Well,
she could be. She could be any color. Fair. That's tricky. Chameleon. Same thought. Kyle had a out there pick that I recommend you check out. But
I'd like to point out that every time I'm on the show, I lose.
You know what? I have a slightly better winning percentage than that, so it's fine. But yeah, we'll be back next week. Like I said, first talking about Spider-Man on Tuesday, and then we'll break down the finale of Hawkeye on Wednesday. So, anything else before we wrap up? Want to get your Spider-Man spoilers out there right now as soon as I hit the button?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Here's what happens. I just gotta tell you.